Hello everyone, hope you've all had a magnificent Friday. Some of you, it's probably now the start of Saturday anyways. Any flippers in chat? That's a good question, Clawpaw. How you doing? Glad to see you're up. Hey, let me get the Discord link going here. Joe Math, hello, how's it going? Let's see here. Discord, anyone interested in joining? If so, you can use this link here. There we go. Clorox, yes. Return of the bleach. Very good. Good to see you, bud. Okay, message pinned. Excellent. There we go. Alright, so. Already got the live scene going on here. Didn't want people thinking, like, you know, there's going to be a huge long wait. I've noticed a lot of drop off in the analytics for some of my live streams when I have this, like, hey, the stream's going to start in a few minutes. So we'll just jump right into it. Yeah, doing good. Had a very busy day today. I had to get my car inspected, which thankfully went really quickly. I had to do some prep work before that, get my tires changed out, get a new windshield because I had a wicked crack in the glass. And then, you know, usual chores throughout the day. Did a whole bunch of different stuff, so that's that. Hey, it's my cousin Mike. What's going on, dude? Thanks for joining up. Got a whole bunch of monsters queued already. We got Clorox's Illithid Psi-Knight. I was looking at it beforehand, checking through on that. Also had a request on TikTok for, it looked like a third-party monster, and we're going to take a look at that one after, so I queued that up for second. So it's called an Asteroid Spider. I'll let your imaginations run wild for now. And then we have, from the Monster Hunter Monster Manual, a repeat from last week, but that was a third-party edition, or no, that was a homebrew. This is, I would consider, third party, so we'll see how ML wins look at the Magnamalo, whatever, that monster we looked at last week. Look at it this week. Napoleon Mitchell, hello, how's it going? Yes, the stream has just started. I don't know, Napoleon. It was requested by someone on TikTok. They said it's on D&D Beyond, that's all I know. And I don't believe I saw anything in official sources for it. Asteroid. Oh no. Yeah, that actually is a legitimate monster. And it's from, let's see here, what is this one here? Monster Compendium Volume 1, Spelljammers Creatures. So it's official, I guess, since it's from a book. Okay, cool. That works. So I guess it's not necessarily a TikTok monster. And I can do it as an actual video. Excellent, Mike. Thanks so much for swinging by, and you know, we'll be seeing what's going on Tuesday too. I gotta read the message you left me for your character there. And let's see here, Asteroid Spider. Yes, yes, the Magnamalo. There we go. Yeah, you know, that's one book, this Spelljammers book, that I just have not had enough look at yet, so it hasn't really reached into my brain deep enough. And then we have, let's see here, Clorox. It's official. It's from the first. Oh, yes, thank you. Okay. Right, that big compendium set they're putting out. Right, okay. An Eldritch Lich, too. Ooh, good lord. Liches are already bad enough as it is on their own. An Eldritch Lich? I'll have to see how that one looks. Let me look at my side thing here. Eldritch Lich. Okay, yeah, from the same thing, and we're looking at a CR15. Oh, so it's like one less than the actual Lich, but a whole bunch of other stuff going on. Anyways, without wasting too much more time, let's get right into this and take a look at our Illithid Psi-Knight from Clorox. And so far, I was looking at, you know, sweeping through this, and it's looking pretty good here. So we'll see what happens. Okay, with the tool reset, we have, let's see, 18 armor class with psionic deflection, which is a cool little addition to use Constitution, which is pretty fascinating. I would have thought maybe, since it's psionics and brain, it would come from intelligence, but Constitution works. I mean, they're both the same, so whichever. Medium aberration, so we can leave that alone, and 16 D8 with the following stats of 18, 14, 18, 19, 17, and 17. So that gives us a +4 bonus for our Constitution modifiers with a total of 136 hit points. Oh, it's adding both con and intelligence. Interesting. Because normally, 10, 4, 4, 8. Normally, wouldn't we also be adding in the dexterity bonus too? So technically, shouldn't it be an 8, a 20 then? If we're adding in both con and intelligence? Yeah, I totally didn't think of that the right way then. Technically, initially, I should have seen it as 16. In any event. Let's see here. Moving on, we will bump down into the skills area over here, and we only have 2 saving throws, so we don't have to worry about that. We do have a CR 13 expected, so we'll see how that turns out. I'm sure it's fine. And then we have damage resistances. I don't know why I have such a hard time saying resistances half the time. Let's see here. So we have bludgeoning, piercing, slashing from non-magical attacks. We had an interesting conversation with myself and Sauron, a new member that joined onto the Discord, about this very thing of how, you know, some monsters just are resistant, and the thought period of like getting rid of classifiers, I guess you could say, of like non-magical attacks or silvered attacks or mithril attacks and so on down the line. I think that may be a good way to go in some instances. Ah, yes, Napoleon, there you go. You are Sauron, yes. Making the connections between YouTube and Discord is a little challenging. I have to make notes of people and their YouTube names so I know who's who. But there you go. Yes, you and I were having this discussion about this. All right, and moving on, we have magic resistance for monster traits. All right, simple enough. +2 AC bonus. Non-Euclidean. So what this does is we get a 5-foot radius around the Mind Flayer that is difficult terrain because of incomprehensible geometries. I love the picture that this generates in my mind of, you know, how this could be screwing with someone's head. The only problem is, unfortunately, something like this with difficult terrain won't affect the CR. So we can skip right over this and go into psionic deflection, which we already looked at. No, I'm sorry. Oh, I read the first part, didn't read the second part. So we get the Constitution modifier and its intelligence modifier to the AC. Oh, I see. That's why it's not plus the dexterity as well. This is base 10, and we're just skipping past dexterity. Okay, cool. Totally didn't see that part because I was just skimming through. Additionally, whenever a creature hits the Mind Flayer with a weapon attack, the attacker takes 3.5 psychic damage. So we can go ahead and throw that into Heated Body because it does exactly the same thing, and we will just throw in 3 because, as per last week's problem with the Magnamalo, if I put in a 3.5, it will break my tool, which I still have to fix. Oh, okay. That's cool. Clorox there with the non-Euclidean stuff. That's neat. I like that. Okay, and keeping it real here and letting people know where it came from. That's cool. Then we have telekinetic strike. So kind of similar to sneak attacks. We will be able to, whenever we hit with a melee weapon attack, deal an extra 13 force damage. And then that can be just added into, you know, we could just throw that. I will throw that in over here. No, actually, we don't have to worry. We can just do it into the extra damage here. So we'll add in the extra 13 for telekinetic strike, which we will probably always be dealing, and don't have to worry about it elsewhere. So every round of combat, we'll be dealing 13, and that will tack it right onto the end of the tool. So we don't have to worry about, oh, you know, are we using it one round or this round or this round? So it's added into every round of combat. And then we have our actions. We have a multi-attack. The Mind Flayer makes 3 attacks. The Mind Flayer can replace 2 of these attacks with the use of Mind Blast if available. Okay, so we have Force Blade and Extract Brain. Both of these are +9 to hit. Very good. So we can go ahead and throw those in. And then the Force Blade will be dealing 14.5 force damage plus 4.5 psychic damage. Okay, so we'll go ahead and just throw in 14.5 here, plus an additional 4.5 for the psychic damage. And then on top of that, we would also be getting probably the telekinetic strike, so an additional force damage from that as well. You know, right down the line, we know how this all works. And on top of that, we also have the Extract Brain. With a target that's grappled or stunned by the Mind Flayer, we'll be dealing 55 points of damage. And as we know, if the target's reduced to 0 hit points, it dies, and the Mind Flayer regains 50 hit points as it extracts and devours the target's brain. Now, I would expect to probably see one use of the 50 hit points here. So I probably would only tack that on once and divide that by 3 rounds of combat. So if we were to come into the extra hit points here and say, all right, we may have gotten lucky enough to consider killing one player, because that's generally the idea, or one creature. It doesn't necessarily have to be a player. There could be commoners around for some reason, and they just extract the brain of a commoner and just, you know, one-shot them. So then we throw in, let's see here, round down, 50 divided by 3, and we'll have 16 effective hit points for the 3 rounds of combat. And like I said, I would expect that once. Yeah, yeah, that's what I was thinking there, Sauron. And I see that you switched your name from Napoleon. Okay, yeah, that's what I would think. You know, more than likely, you have to set up for the extract brain anyways. So we'd have to figure out, how are we stunning? How are we grappling and going on from there? So usually, whenever I've looked at the other Mind Flayers in the past, it's generally 1 to 2 rounds to get that grapple going or the stun to go off, and then attacking. Sometimes it can be done in the first round. We can have a stun right off with something in the spells, or the Mind Blast. There we go, the Mind Blast, or, you know, maybe the Tentacle Grapples on the round 1. Then round 2, we do an Extract Brain, and that's 55 points of damage. Then usually by round 3, that's probably going to be enough damage to that character if they haven't escaped the grapple to extract the brain out. So I generally would only think 1 round out of the 3 would give me the extract brain hit point damage here. It is, Mike, for sure. Very scary. Just like I was saying on the Discord when thinking about, you know, all the undead and how they should really be terrifying to play against, because when a player's down, they shouldn't stop attacking that player and they should go for the kill. Ugh, yikes. Okay, next up we have the tentacles, and the tentacles are 13 psychic damage, and then we also have the grappled effect. And in this manner, must make a 17 intelligence saving throw or be stunned until the start of its next turn. So I usually stick stunned with a level 1, like Tasha's Hideous Laughter, because it incapacitates just as stunned incapacitates. And a level 1 spell generally only deals 11 effective damage, so we would say, okay, that calculates to 27. In these cases, we look at spells that would last round after round after round, but because the stun ability only lasts for that 1 round, I would take that and divide that by 3. So we would only get effectively maybe 9 hit points for stunning a creature. I would think that technically it should scale the higher the CR goes, similar to how Undead Fortitude or Relentless scales as well. So we might actually be able to use those in place. So for instance, you know, CR 13 here technically might be 27 total, but we'll go with the +9 for now because I haven't quite figured that all out. So we'll just add in +9 here for more hit points for the stun ability on the tentacles, as well as throwing on the constrict for the grapple, which we can only grapple 1 target anyways. After that, we have some spell casting here. The only one I really am concerned about, and as we, speaking of the Dominate monster here, this was one that I was discussing just moments ago in the Discord here. The spell says, let's take a look at this real quick here. You attempt to beguile a creature that you can see within range. Does that mean players are technically creatures? Because it doesn't specifically say a monster or a monstrosity or an aberration. It just says creature. Are players considered creatures as well? Technically, you might be able to use Dominate Monster on them. I know there is a Dominate Person at level 5, but what's the difference between the two, honestly, besides the 3 spell levels? I don't know. I haven't looked into it enough just yet. It was one of these things that just crossed my mind now, so I have to take a look at it. We do have, looking at the one at will, Booming Blade for 2d8. Oh, they are not creatures. Okay. That's good to know then. So then, yeah, we would have to use the Dominate Person spell, which it came up with it came up with Vecna. The Vecna stat block also has Dominate Person, and it's Dominate Monster. Why does Vecna have Dominate Monster? What are we expecting him to be using this on? Oh, okay. All right, but why does it have to be a level 8 spell? Because it's just that wide of a range of creatures it can target? See, that's what I'm thinking, Sauron. Players are possibly dominated by monsters. Is this something that has been verified by Sage Advice or Crawford? I'd be curious to know. Because, in theory, you know, if you needed to use the spell, yeah, then that makes sense then why Vecna has it. Because then he can dominate anyone he chooses. Okay, I like that. That's an interesting point. I'll come back to this in a minute. Let me continue with this. You guys find me that stuff there. Courage, what's up, dude? How's it going? First time on this type of stream. What are you doing? We are looking at the Illithid Psi-Knight created by Clorox. We are breaking down its CR. Right now it's rated at CR 13 and seeing how it works out. It's a lot lower energy than my Monster vs. Monster live streams, but it's also good information if you're ever curious to see how I do these videos that I do the shorts on, or other such things. Right now we're talking about the Dominate Person spell and if it actually affects players. So I will continue on. You guys verify if Dominate Monster can attack or can target players, which makes a lot more sense if Vecna can do that, as well as our Mind Flayer here. So if that's the case, then if Dominate Monster can also affect players, then that is going to be one vital spell to really do some damage here. And if that's the case, that might be a good way to get someone into that whole brain eating thing right off the bat. And if that is it, we have Dominate Monster, 66 effective DPR here. That's going to be huge comparatively. So I'm going to go ahead and take that, pop that in for an extra 165 hit points. All right, so moving along here, we also have, like I said before, Booming Blade for 2d8, which is what? 7? Oh, 9. Okay, so Booming Blade is going to be 9. It might not be helpful unless we have something down here allowing us to use it. All right, Detect Thoughts, Levitate. Levitate's handy if we don't want people moving about. Even flyers. Apparently, if you levitate a flying person, they get stuck in midair, which is pretty funny from what I understand. And then, lastly, we have Mind Blast. Recharge 6. The Mind Flayer emits a potent psychic energy in a 60-foot cone. So we'll have this one set up for 2 targets, or 2 failed saves worth of damage. So 22 times 2 for a total of 44 here. And then we have our multi-attack. So going back to the top, the Mind Flayer can make 3 attacks and replace 2 of these attacks with a Mind Blast if available. Okay, so first off, what would be 3 attacks? So that means, could we do Booming Blade as well? Okay. So let's see here. Booming Blade. Oh, whatever. I will check my side source here for Booming Blade real quick. Alright, Booming Blade is a spell, right? British weapon. It's an action to do that. So you probably wouldn't want to be using the spell casting here. Ah, thank you. Yes. Alright, so we wouldn't want to do that for our multi-attack unless needed. So then, what is going to be the best option here? We could do... Well, we certainly would have to set up for the Extract Brain. So we would say probably... probably what we would end up doing is a tentacle attack to get that grapple and possibly stunned. And then, in essence, we could do 2 extract brains. Is that how you saw this going, Clorox? Because if we're making 3 attacks... Daniel Smith, hello! If something is rechargeable, would you consider it recharged per round when figuring out CRs? No, what I generally will take is just the straight math. So for instance, Mind Blast is a recharge of 6, so we should only see that 1 out of every 6 rounds of combat. So in theory, we should only have 1 Mind Blast in the first 3 rounds of combat. The same goes for anything on a recharge of 5 or 6. That's a 1 out of 3 recharge, so it would still only be 1. It gets to the point where if we have something with a recharge of 4 to 6, then that's a 50% chance to recharge, and I would calculate that 2 out of the 3 rounds of combat, and so on down the line. I don't really worry about the percentages every round, so, we would say, every round of combat, there's a 1 out of 6 chance to recharge, so trying to calculate that with the damages, it kind of should work out to be the same anyways. So I just stick with, alright, recharge of 6, we'll see it 1 round out of the 3 rounds of combat, and technically we shouldn't see it again until possibly the 7th. Mathematically speaking, anyways. Let's see here. Clorox. No, it was intended for Extract Brain to be an entire action. Normal Mind Flayers don't have multi-attack, so it was kind of rough to communicate that. Might have to add an other than Extract Brain. Yeah, I would go with that, Clorox, because right now, the way it's worded, I would go with 1 tentacle attack and then 2 Extract Brains. Let's see here. So on page 204, the PHB mentions all spells either target a creature, an object, or an area effect. So yeah, if it's not an object or area, it's a creature. I tried to paste the whole thing, but it's too long. Okay, cool. Thank you, Sauron. That definitely clears up the dominate monster question I posed in the Discord server, and helps me understand why Vecna has dominate monster as well. So that's excellent. Thank you so much. All right, then with that, we would consider, okay, if we're excluding Extract Brain from the multi-attack, we would do what? Probably, we would want to set up for the 2nd round of combat. So the first multi-attack would probably be 2 Force Blades and then a Tentacle. So that's what I would do. 2 Force Blades times 2 and 1 Tentacle attack. We could also do the Mind Blast, but I'm not going to worry about that because technically our multi-attack of 2 Force Blades and a Tentacle is already much stronger than the Mind Blast, and I would probably save that instead for maybe an escape mechanism, since we have higher attacks here for that. And then after that, we would do the Extract Brain as its solo attack. So yeah, that's pretty much that. Let's continue on for the bonus actions, and then we'll come back to calculating all of the attacks and whatnot. Okay, Summon Force Blade. As a bonus action, the Mind Flayer creates a martial weapon of its choice by its hand. The Mind Flayer cannot be disarmed. Okay, that's cool. And use its intelligence score to determine the attack and bonus damage. Excellent. Okay, so that helps with that whole Force Blade up here, which is neat. And then Collapse Space. The Mind Flayer collapses reality around it to teleport to an unoccupied space it is aware of within 30 feet of it. Each creature within 5 feet of the space the Mind Flayer arrives in takes 4 force damage and is pushed 5 feet back. Interesting. So this is similar in idea to Vecna's teleport, which, regains him 80 hit points, which was insane. And this one, we're doing a little bit of force damage. In theory, we would expect probably 2 targets, so we're looking at maybe a total of 9 damage. That could be a really good way to jump over to someone. How would I deal with this? Because you would want to set up and try to do the Extract Brain, especially if someone's far away. So this isn't, offensively, you're still jumping away and probably going to someone that's weakened. So I would give it the little bit of movement here. So what is it? That was a level 2 spell that usually jumps. So I'm going to give that one of the level 2 abilities here. Not counter spell. No. Beacon of Hope. blink. No, that's not right either. I need... Oh, I'm in the wrong spell here. That's the problem. All right, I'm in spell level 3, not 2 like I wanted. Alter self. No, that's wrong. Okay, 16 effective DPR. That's what I was looking for. Okay. Yes, Misty Step. That's it. Yeah, Misty Step does the same 30 feet of movement. So if we come down here, there we go. 16 effective DPR. I would award both of those. The 16 effective DPR plus the 4.5, so 9 force damage for the collapse space as well, and use that for every round. In theory, the summon Force Blade will probably should have been done prior to battle, so they'd be holding the Force Blade anyways. So what do we got here? 165 for the Dominate Monster. That is really good. I like that a lot, and we'll probably end up doing that for round 1 to dominate someone, because that is just nasty. So we'll throw 16 in here for 40 effective hit points, bouncing around. So we'll add in 40 as well to that, and then we're doing an extra 9 points of damage, potentially targeting two people. Although, if you're going for, maybe it's just 1. Maybe we'll just do 1 plus 4. I'll say 1 target, because generally if I'm going to use collapse space to jump to someone, I'm going to have it be someone that is excluded to themselves, so probably like a wizard that's out in the distance, that's keeping their distance from everyone else, or a sorcerer, warlock, whatever. Someone that's weaker and easier to hit, I would probably go with that. Alright, and then we have reaction, Telekinetic Rebuke. As a reaction to taking damage, the Mind Flayer can lash out at the attacker, dealing 7 force damage and having disadvantage on the next attack it makes as the Mind Flayer psionically hinders it. There was somewhere I saw that basically giving someone disadvantage would be a bonus AC to the next attack. So in theory, we could award the 7 damage here and probably a +1 AC for the disadvantage on the next attack. We could do that. Let's see what happens. The 1 AC probably isn't going to do too terribly much, but we do have the extra damage here of 7 for the rebuke every round. So we will also add in 7 damage for that, which is cool. All right, so we have all of that situated. Let's take a look at what we're going to do for rounds 1, 2, and 3. Now, we do have the multi-attack, which would also add in the Telekinetic Strike. If we add in the Telekinetic Strike, which is 13, that's what, 64 points of damage, which is pretty much equivalent. Ooh, what was that? Cat knocked over something. Freaked him out. Anyways, so having Dominate Monster as a 66 effective DPR here is pretty much the same as all of the actions to do damage. So I'm not even going to worry about Dominate Monster as an ability, because it still is going to set us up to be able to extract brain on someone. So easy enough. We have all of our added damage in on the side, and we will just take the multi-attack here from round 1, and then extract brain. In theory, we'll still have everything grappled or stunned, or go for someone else that's stunned by round 3 if we still have these issues going on here. And in theory, we'll have someone grappled, because the grapple is what? How much was the tentacle here? DC 17 intelligence saving throw to be stunned, and the target is grappled. Interesting. All right, so it's a contested grapple check, but they're also stunned. I would say probably more than likely we'd be able to get, 2 of these attacks in. That's what we calculated for anyways. And as we see here, with everything, including, Dominate Monster as an ability, and using that right off the bat to possibly control someone into the extract brain, sure, we have a CR 13, which is perfect. Now, let's see what happens if we bypass damage, immunities, and resistances. What do we get next? We get a CR 12. Not bad. So, interesting. Even with the reduction, once the the, you know, magical or the non-magical attacks, or we have magical attacks coming through. These are our only damage resistances here. They don't resist anything else from spells and what have you. You know, we have ourselves a CR 13 or CR 12 Mind Flayer Psi-Knight. This is a cool build. I like it. I would definitely use it. And thank you for sharing it with us, Clorox. As always, right on the numbers here. All right. Let's clear out this tool and take a look at the next monster, the Asteroid Spider. Okay, moving on. Here is our big beauty, and I should have realized this was official source here because, you know, it actually had artwork, which was cool. And apparently it's free to use because I can actually see it. I don't have anything, you know, I don't have too many pieces bought on D&D Beyond, so... Excellent. Moving on. Asteroid Spider, Gargantuan Monstrosity. All right. Oh, let's see here. I'm going to put out a poll. Asteroid Spider. This is from a newer book, so here's a potential hint. I've sent out a poll. The Asteroid Spider, will it be underrated? Go ahead and throw your predictions in now. Let's see what happens. Okay, so we have ourselves a Gargantuan Monstrosity. Let me make sure to swap that onto Gargantuan here with 17 natural AC. We have 24 D20 hit dice, and we have a Constitution of 18. Should be CR 15. And we have 2 saving throws, nothing to worry about here. And that's it for the skills section, so we can skip right down into false appearance. We can skip past that. That's not going to do anything, as well as unusual nature. We can skip that as well. And then we have legendary resistance. And we have 3 of those, giving us an effective 90 hit points for being CR 13, or 15, excuse me. Then we move down into the actions and bonus actions. This might be a pretty quick one here. Let's see here. Yes, a Gargantuan Spider. Oh, that's excellent, Clorox. Glad to see that the 2 calculations still worked out to be in favor here. All right, so we have a multi-attack. The spider makes 2 web-strand attacks, uses reel, and makes 2 bite attacks. So we're doing 5 things here? Oh, man. Oh, no. Wow. Okay. We're looking at, I'm checking the 2 hits here, and we have a plus 13 on everything, so that makes life so much easier. And then we go with 2 web strand attacks, and the web strand attacks are ranged weapons. Okay, hit, the target is grappled, the web strand can be attacked. Okay, doesn't do any damage, but it does grapple whatever, and we can make 2 of those. The spider can grapple up to 6 creatures at any time using the web strands. Okay, so we would expect upwards of 2 creatures to be grappled in this manner. So with web strand, we're going to, instead using constrict up at the top, we're going to come down here and add in plus 2 AC for 2 creatures grappled. And then from there, we do the reel, which the spider pulls each creature grappled by it up to 60 feet straight towards itself, similar to what the roper, is it? And then... You say Asteroid Spider, I say running in the opposite direction. Valid point, Daniel. For most people, I would say so. And then, let's see here. We have the last thing, the spider makes 2 bite attacks. So we're actually finally getting some damage in here. And the bite attack is going to be 21.5, 21, not 24. And an additional 10.5 acid damage for 32. So we are looking at a total of 64 points of damage here from the 2 bites, which is pretty hefty. And then we also have a bonus action of Snare Ship once per day. The spider weaves a magical web around a spell-jamming ship it can see within 100 feet of itself. The web lasts for 1 minute and suppresses the magic of any spell-jamming helm aboard the ship. Decks and other surfaces of the boat or the ship aren't enclosed become difficult terrain, so on and so forth. And the web is impervious to damage but is destroyed by a successful cast of Dispel Magic. Okay, so this isn't going to do too terribly much. Unfortunately, I'm not too versatile in the Spelljammer universe, and I I wouldn't know how to gauge this, but since it's attacking a ship and not the players, I'm going to say that the bonus action has no effect on its CR. Sauron, the 2 AC for being grappled, because we can have upwards of 6 creatures grappled at any time. So that's the difference between like a giant constrictor snake that can only do it to one creature, whereas our spider here can do it to multiple creatures. But I usually cap it out at 2 maximum, because some creatures might be hiding, other creatures may, you know, the attack might not hit. So in theory, every round we might see upwards of 2 creatures. And we always do the best case scenario anyway, so I go with a minimum of 2 creatures when doing calculations that allow for more than one. So that's my theory on it anyways. There's no strict ruling on it from the D&D or from the DMG, unfortunately. This is just something I've noticed. No, it doesn't. It just grapples. But the same can be said for the constrictor snake, I believe. And it's a fact of both when it grapples and restrains for constrict. Yeah, when the creature has the ability to restrain and or grapple a target, you still get this bonus, surprisingly enough, even with the grapple, which doesn't make sense for grapple because it just reduces the movement to 0. I don't know what to say. I would think primarily only on restrained. Restrained makes a lot more sense, but who knows. Okay. And that's it. So here we go. Let's see what we get so far. We got a high DCR of 21 so far. And now we're just going to take our multi-attack and multiply it by 3 rounds of attack. Okay. CR 17. We're expecting a 15. All right, so whoever voted yes for it being underrated, you've won the poll. Oh, man. We had 3 votes for yes and 1 vote for no. So those that voted yes that the creature is going to be underrated, you were correct. We were underrated by 2 CR here. I don't even understand how that happened. All right, ending the poll. There we go. So, yeah, we've got ourselves a CR 17 gigantic spider here. Let's see here. Any quick way to fix this? Probably if we were to... I don't know. Let's see what happens. If we reduce this by 1, that's not nearly enough. Yeah, that doesn't do anything. So this is really just the amount of damage this thing is putting out. We would have to modify the bite damage some way here. So if we were to say 1d6 instead of 3, so we're looking at what? 3.5 instead of 10? If we do 3.5, that drops it down to a 16. If we get rid of the poison or the acid damage altogether. Oh, what did I do here? All right, let's get rid of the acid damage altogether. Now we get ourselves a CR 15 spider, asteroid spider. So no acid damage if you want this to be a 15. Otherwise, use it as a CR 17. I don't care. Ah, yes. More of these gargantuan spiders. Is that what you're getting at, Clawpaw? Alright, let me take a note of that since, you know, Asteroid Spider. This will be a shorts video, and it's supposed to be a 15. We looked at that, and what did we have here for numbers? I haven't done this in a while. 21, 13, and 17. Okay. 21, 13, 17. Underrated. Quick fix. No acid on bites. I have to look through the Tome of Beasts. I've only skimmed some of the monsters in there. I would guess that there's a lot on there. Oh, the poll was so funny. Oh, there we go. Okay. Okay. So, that is our Asteroid Spider, a gargantuan spell jamming terror in space? I'm just thinking of, what is it, from the old Muppet Show? In space! Well, we do have one more monster. Clawpaw requested the Magnamalo from the Monster Hunter Monster Manual, whereas last week's Magnamalo was a homebrew version. So we can kind of compare the two and see what happens here. I have something in my hair? Felt a bump. Just as long as it's not a tick. Alright. Yes. This is, as far as I'm concerned, the real Magnamalo, as Clawpaw puts it. Okay, so we have a beefy one here, a lot going on, and here is our cat, kitty, wyvern, kitty, fanged looking thing. Let's see here. My favorite one in there is the Chelicerae, a giant spellcasting spider that grapples spellcasters and drains them of slots to cast spells on their own, or drains the wisdom of people without slots. Ooh, that is gnarly. Yes, kitty fanged wyvern cat. Indeed. Okay, let's get right into this, because there's a lot to cover. Alright, huge wyvern. It's 19 AC, natural armor. And as I said, we are huge, with 18 D12 hit dice, with 21 constitution bonus, and should be a 17. Moving down, we only have 2 saving throws, so we don't have to worry about that. We do have a bunch of resistances to all of them, except poison and psychic, when none of the body parts are enhanced. Okay, so there's a load of resistances here. But because it's a CR 17, we are getting no bonus. It is one CR over the suggested range to cut that out. And let's see here. So we only have a couple immunities, but we're not going to worry about those because it's only 2 traits. So we will skip over that and move down into the traits here. So we have Hellfire. Fire damage dealt by the Magnamalo bypasses resistances and deals half damage to creatures that are immune to the fire damage. Okay. Skipping over that, that's not going to impact us. Hellfire Dust. Well, I mean, technically it does impact the CR. It just means that all fire damage is going to do some fire damage. But it's not going to really modify the CR at all. It just means you can't stop the damage, really. Hellfire Dust. At the start of each of the Magnamalo's turns, each creature within 5 feet of it takes 9 fire damage, and flammable objects in the area that aren't being worn or carried ignite. Okay. So we can come over here to Heated Body, and we'll add in, was that 9 fire damage? So 9 right there. So every round we're dealing at least 9 points of damage, potentially more if there are more than 1 melee up there fighting it. Hellfire Jump. As a bonus action, the Magnamalo can jump up to 120 feet into the air by jumping in a 40-foot high increments. Zigzagging Pattern, so on and so forth during the jump. Horizontal move can't exceed the speed. Alright, so no bonus there to the CR. Then we have Hellfire State. At the beginning of the Magnamalo's turn, choose 1 body part. Claw, tail, back, or mouth. That body part is enhanced with Hellfire granting additional effects. For the bite, claw, tail, Hellfire, dive bomb actions included in the action. The parts remain enhanced until the Magnamalo is knocked prone. It has attacked creatures. Alright, so on and so forth. When all 4 body parts are enhanced, the Magnamalo's Hellfire turns a magenta color, increasing its movement speed by 10. It gains +2 bonus to AC, and it has advantage on dexterity saving throws. Alright, so at the start of the Magnamalo's turn, and it looks like we are doing what? We have 4 body parts, so in theory, we don't have to worry about the AC bonus until round 4. Hopefully by then, it's dead? I don't know, but I'm not going to worry about adding in the Hellfire State because we only calculate the first 3 rounds of combat, not 4. And then we have Magic Resistance. And that's simply a +2 effective AC bonus. Alright, Multi-Attack. Let's see here. Can use its Frightful Presence, which is going to do nothing because after CR10, most players can deal with Fright pretty quickly. Then we have, it can make 2 attacks. 2 with its claws, 2 with its tail, or 2 with its Hellfire Orbs. Okay. So that's pretty straightforward. 2 claws, 2 tail, or 2 hellfire. And we also have a bite in here for some reason. Okay. So everything looks to be attacking with an 11. Okay, perfect. So we will add that 11 into there. And then we have, let's see here. So the bite is going to deal 14 fire damage, right? Or piercing damage. Its mouth, if the mouth is enhanced by the hellfire state, the target takes an extra 3 fire damage. So we'll just add that in because, in theory, we'll be only using the attack once it's enhanced anyways. So there's no point in not including it into the rounds of combat. And we're looking at 3.5 there. The next attack is the claw, and that will be dealing 12 plus, if it's enhanced, each creature within 5 feet of the target must succeed on dex saves or take 9 fire damage. So each creature within 5 feet, in theory, we're only really dealing with 1 melee, generally speaking. An optimal group would probably be some kind of melee, a caster, and then DPS, like a ranger or I don't know, some kind of DPS, maybe a rogue that's throwing or using a crossbow. Sometimes we might have 2 casters, who knows. But in theory, we have 1 main melee, 1 caster, and then the 3rd or 4th option, who knows. So I'm going to only add in 9 damage to this attack. Oh, excuse me. I think I have to sneeze. Okay. It's gone. And then we'll move on to the top of the next column. The Hellfire Orbs. And the Hellfire Orbs are very straightforward. Let's see here. Oh, wow. Okay, Hellfire Orbs, ranged weapon attack, 2 hit, ranged 30 of 120 feet, up to 3 targets. So we can hit 3 targets every use of this. Okay, normally I say only 2. So in theory, we're only doing 2 of these. So we're going to do 18 for that, which keeps it pretty much in line with the other attacks, which is good to see. Then we have a tail attack, excuse me. And the tail attack is going to be 23 piercing damage. And if the tail is enhanced with the Hellfire state, choose... Oh, well, we have an error here. Chose 2 5-foot cubed areas adjacent to the Magnamalo, or the target Hellfire dust fills those spaces. Okay, so Hellfire dust is this. No, that's a weird use of that. Okay. Oh, I see what's going on. Alright, so I gotta finish reading. At the start of the Magnamalo's next turn, the Hellfire dust explodes. Each creature within 5 feet of the dust must succeed on a dex save or take 9 more damage. Okay. Alright. Oh, wow. Alright, Sauron. Have a good day at work. That is insane. You're going to work right now. I don't know where you're at, but it's late for me. We're going on 11 o'clock, so... Alright, man. Catch you later. If you can make it back, that's cool. But, you know, have a good night. I'll see you later if you can't make it. And I have a cat in the way. Come here. Dexter, come on, buddy. There we go. Alright. So, as I was saying, plus 9 more damage here. We're expecting probably 1 hit of this, unless you position the dust in such a way to do 2. And then the multi-attack... Oh, excuse me. The multi-attack was 2 claws, 2 tails, or 2 Hellfire Orbs. And the claw was 21. The tail does more damage. Okay, so I would end up using the tail most of all. Since we have the most amount of damage from this, we'll just multiply that by 2. And then we go to Apex Predator. The Magnamalo feeds on the corpse of a creature. Ready me to scan through this real quick. Oh, wow. Okay. A medium or smaller creature is consumed whole, while the Magnamalo can feed on a large or bigger creature for up to 30 seconds. For each round the Magnamalo feeds on a creature, it heals for an amount equal to the creature's challenge rating. Alright, so there's really no way to gauge this, and I'm going to have to skip this, unfortunately. Frightful Presence, while good for under CR10, or up to CR10, we'll have to skip over this as well, because it's not going to do anything. Like I said, Fear is handled pretty well by players over CR10, but we do have Hellfire Vortex. Recharge 5 to 6. The Magnamalo releases a vortex of purple hellfire in a 90-foot line that is 5 feet wide. Each creature in that must make a dex save in that line, taking 66 fire damage on a failed save. So I will just plop the... I'll plop that right here. Oh, I'm getting sleepy. 66 times 2 for 132 points of damage. Recharge of 5 to 6. So we should only see this 1 out of 3 rounds of combat. And then we have our legendary actions. So we have our bite attack here, and that's where the bite finally comes into play. Times 3 for that. Yes, because we could do 3 actions there. We have a move. The Magnamalo can move up to its speed without provoking an attack of opportunity, and it can move 50 feet, which is... If our level 2 spell lets us do 30 feet of movement with Misty Step, level 3, I think, was pretty good there. I think that was, what, Thunderstep in here for level 3? Yeah, Thunderstep. So, 33 effective DPR for that legendary action to be able to move without provoking attacks of opportunity is pretty handy. And we could do that 3 times, but more than likely, the attacks are going to be used. I would only see moving really once to get away from, you know, being flanked or outnumbered. Let's see here. I feel like the Feast one is only coming up in a situation where the Magna runs from combat and heals itself while the players try and hunt it down. So yeah, leave it. Yeah, exactly. That's why I wasn't really too worried about it. It probably attacks something really easy to kill and then just heals that way, just like you said. So I'm gonna kind of skip over move because I don't think it's altogether useful except for escaping, really, or repositioning to get away from multiple attackers. Detonate costs 2 actions. The Magnamalo Hellfire Dust explodes. See tail attack. The Magnamalo's Hellfire Dust explode. See tail attack. Alright, so I could see coupling that with move, but it's weak unless you can get a load of creatures in there because we're only doing 9 points of fire damage on a failed save. That is not worth it to me. To me, the best round so far is biting and moving, really. And then we have Hellfire Dive Bomb. Magnamalo leaps into the air without provoking attacks of opportunity and uses its Hellfire to propel it forward at high speeds and uses its Hellfire, until it comes, oh yeah, another typo here, until it comes crashing down in a 15-foot square. Alright, area makes a dex save, taking 22 points of damage. Alright, so that would be 2 creatures for 44 there, and then if the back is enhanced by the Hellfire state, the dust on its body scatters and explodes in a 15-foot radius around the location it crashes into. Each creature in that area must make a DC 19 save, taking 22 fire damage on a failed save. Foot square area. If the back is enhanced by Hellfire state, the dust on its body scatters and explodes again. Alright, so it's a double. This one would probably take time to set up, more than likely. I mean, it would end up becoming 88 average damage. Indeed, Clawpaw. Indeed. Let's see here. So this one's interesting. Initially, I would say 44. And then I would say eventually it would be 88 because we're getting a second round. Probably wouldn't see this enhanced until the very end because of all the other things that it can do with its attacks. So, in theory, the best route for here would be to enhance the tail, then enhance the back, and then enhance everything else. So round 1, I would go with enhancing the tail. Actually, no, round 1 would be the Hellfire Vortex, using that right off the bat, right? So we go round 1, Hellfire Vortex, plus we would do a whole bunch of bite attacks. Round 2, then we would go into the multi-attack after we've enhanced the... the bite would be enhanced too. So in the beginning we would enhance the bite because we're going to use that. Round 2, we're going to enhance the tail. So we would use the tail. And then we would go for the bite attacks again. And then on round 3, we would enhance the back. Oops. Wrong buttons. We would enhance the back, attack with the tail, and then we would do a full-on Hellfire dive bomb attack, since that's going to do massive damage there. And sure enough, we have a CR-17 with that attack pattern anyways. If we were to do different attack patterns, we might see a reduction in the monster CR, and because our damage immunities, our resistance, damage resistances here is only 1 times the hit points, bypassing resistances does nothing. So unfortunately, it's going to be just as deadly with or without getting past those resistance items here. So yeah, CR-17 Magnamalo, fun. And unfortunately, it looks like we have come to the end of the stream. It is a few minutes to 11. I've got some chores to do, and unfortunately, I have to get my butt to bed. So thank you all for joining me as we looked at the Illithid Psi-Knight from Clorox, the Asteroid Spider, which I didn't realize was an official gargantuan spider here, and I'm going to use that as the artwork for this live stream here. So hopefully people will jump in and say like, hey, what is this massive spider thing doing attacking a ship? And the second round of the Magnamalo from the Monster Hunter Monster Manual. Yes, exactly, CR-17. Okay. So that has been this Friday night's live stream of Exposing CRs live with me, Andrew. I'd like to thank everyone who was here in the live stream: Clawpaw, Sauron, Daniel Smith, Clorox, my cousin Mike, thanks for stopping by. And let's see here, who else stopped in? Courage W, Courage, thanks for swinging by. I know you've been hanging out in the Monster vs. Monster live streams, which will be this Monday, and then one more. We have 2 more Mondays, and then we will be switching to probably Saturdays for the Monster vs. Monster live streams. Who else? Oh, no, Clawpaw. Who else? Come on. I think there was one more person. Was that it? I think that's everyone. And Joe Math. Thank you all for hanging out and chatting with me while we looked at these monsters. You've all been amazing and awesome people. And this is me, Andrew, as always, asking, are your encounters even rated? Have a good night, everyone, and I will see you on Monday for the next round of Monster vs. Monster battles. This one is more reptilian in nature, so hopefully that little tidbit there gets you excited for what's going on. Yes, it'll be Monday, more than likely at 2 o'clock again, Eastern Standard Time. So please adjust your time zones and come join and hang out if you can make it at whatever time that works for your time zone. All right, everyone. Good night, and I will see you later.